Hello everyone. Sorry, I'm not as professional as all the other people, so I'm a bit nervous, so you have to bear with me. Unlike the speakers this evening, I'm not a graduate or a student of Exeter. I'm just a very, very grateful mum. Indeed, for most of my life, I've had no connection with Exeter. However, I'm now its biggest fan. In 2006, by chance, I read something about the university that was to transform the lives of my family forever. This is my son, Jack. He's gorgeous, isn't he? Jack suffers from monogenic diabetes, a gene mutation that was unknown and undiscovered until 2004. This means he suffers from grossly abnormal blood sugars, either extremely high or extremely low. The first 5 years of his life were hideous for him. He also presents with Down syndrome, which is developmental delay, epilepsy, and neonatal diabetes. When Jack was 17 days old, he was admitted to hospital as an emergency. He was listless, semi-conscious, and his blood sugar was off the radar. He was diagnosed with neonatal diabetes and started on insulin, and we were told he probably wouldn't survive the night. Life after diagnosis was incredibly hard. The fluctuations in Jack's blood glucose were so extreme and difficult to manage. I'd go into the kitchen and make a cup of tea, and by the time I got back, he'd be on the floor in the living room having a seizure because his blood sugars were so low. It happened so quickly. He was either hyper or hypo, and we had to check his blood sugars 15 to 20 times a day, including during the night. And his little fingers, the ends of his fingers with the needles, they were just black and blue from the amount of times that we had to check his blood sugar. We made regular 999 calls due to his hypoglycemic seizures, and I was worried every day that he wouldn't make it. Every day I thought, is this the day? Is this the day he's going to die? Jack was very sad. He was a very isolated child. He needed constant adult supervision, and he just felt unwell all of the time. When he was about a year old, it became quite obvious to me that he wasn't developing as much as his older brother Tom was. There's only 14 months between the two boys, so I had quite a good yardstick with Tom. He didn't crawl, and his muscle strength was quite poor. His fine motor skills were lacking, and he couldn't hold a fork and a spoon, and he needed quite a lot of attention all of the time. Jack didn't walk till he was 2.5, and he didn't speak any really definable words. He'd make lots of noises, and we used a picture system. If he wanted to ask for a drink or if he was hungry, we had a picture system that we used called PECs. He would often become very frustrated, particularly when his blood sugars were all over the place. He'd sit on the stairs and he'd bang his head on the stairs. It was horrible to watch. And he suffered real severe separation anxiety, particularly from me and his grandparents. We weren't able to leave him with anybody, even though I had to work, and it was just a really, really horrible time for the family. One day, my mother-in-law brought an article home from the Daily Telegraph that somebody in her church had read. And it was about Professor Hattersley's work in Exeter. It showed that he and his team had identified a monogenic cause of early onset diabetes and discovered that tablets could replace insulin injections. Reading the story, I thought, that's Jack. Unfortunately, Jack's paediatrician didn't agree. He told me to go away. Jack was autistic, he was diabetic, and I just had to, come to terms with that. Unfortunately, I'm a nurse, so I don't come to terms with anything. So I decided to track Dr. Hattersley down, I hunted him and hounded him on the internet, and he was in New Zealand at the time. I got his email address, and it turned out that the original genetic testing Jack had had as a baby, they kept his blood. So Andrew tested it. He was incredibly supportive. He was very keen to do the test. And 10 days later, I had a phone call on a Friday night saying, Emma, Jack's got the gene. 6 weeks later, we went down to the Bristol hospital. I don't know whether many of you know it, the Wallace and Gromit Hospital. It's got a really annoying lift. You go up into it, level 3, the orange floor, the colour of cheese. It's just really, really... But Jack was there, and he transferred over to the new medication. Words cannot express the change in Jack. The diabetes research has completely changed Jack's life, and it's completely changed the life of our family. Whenever anybody asks you what you want for your children, every single parent says, I just want my child to be happy. Well, Jack is the happiest boy I know. He's still got lots of special needs. He needs assistance throughout his life. He's got developmental delay, he's got epilepsy, but he walks into a room and he lights it up. He is a joy to have as a child, and as long as there is Buzz Lightyear in the world, all in Jack's world is good. He is the happiest chap you would ever wish to meet. It's very difficult for me to reconcile now how Jack is as he was when he was on insulin. I truly believe that Jack would be dead now if it wasn't for the research at Exeter. I hope that thanks to this fundraising campaign, the team can go on to make even more discoveries that can save even more lives. Thank you for all that you have done at Exeter, and please continue to support these revolutionary breakthroughs. Thank you, thank you, thank you.